Good evening, my friend. Welcome to WDW Radio Live. I am Lou Mongello. It is Wednesday, September, 13th, and thank you very much for being here. If you are watching live, please do me a favor. Sit back, relax, grab a snack, and tag and invite a friend to watch along with you. And everybody says, where are you watching? I don't care where, I care where you're watching from, but instead of where you're watching from, tell me what's for dinner. What's for dinner tonight? You can tell me where you're watching from. I'm starving, obviously. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always starving. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, wherever you may be watching from, whether it's the couch, you're walking the dog, you're on that thing that they call a treadmill, you're in the air somewhere. I appreciate you being here. I saw some of you last night on our nation call. Thank you guys very much. And to everybody who tuned in over the weekend, live from Destination D, or who I met at Destination D. I'll see that this is bad because now I'm looking at the comments about what you're eating, and this is not helpful. This is not helpful. Good night, everybody. The show's over. Air fryer pizza, chicken wings, mac and cheese, chicken stir fry, chicken crawfish pasta. Hey now. David's fasting. God bless you, brother. I've been there. That's tough stuff. Lemon pasta, steak. What's a treadmill, Ray? I agree. I don't even know where I got that word from. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying whatever you're eating or ate or about to order from whatever food delivery service you are ordering from. I thought tonight we would do something not necessarily a little bit different, but tonight I really want to hear from you. Specifically about Destination D and everything that we learned and we heard and we speculated about over the weekend. Last night, I had a call with members of the WDW Nation. If you're a member of the Nation, let me see you in the chat. Thank you very much for being there. And we sort of went through everything that we learned over at Destination D. I recorded it, and that's why the show is late. I'm actually going to use the recording of that conversation, that call that we had together for this week's show. I'm going to try desperately to get it up tonight. Look at me. I'm a hot mess. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm spreading 17 different directions, but I'm trying desperately to get it up tonight or tomorrow. But for those either that were on the call or were not on the call last night, I really want to hear from you. I really want to hear what you thought about what we learned at Destination D. What did you, as you sort of reflect back on the announcements we got, announcements that we didn't get, and where your expectations were met, exceeded, not met, etc. I would really, really be curious to hear. As you are sort of, if there's nothing that sort of jumps out at you, I will very quickly go through some of what we learned last night, but I'm going to be watching the comments and we'll touch on these as they come in. So I think we got some things that we knew, right? The Figment meet and greet, we knew was certainly coming. There were some things we did not have any expectations of. I think Test Track getting reimagined and being inspired by World of Motion came completely out of left field. I think it's interesting, and certainly this was the appropriate place to have that announcement, because I think Destination D, as opposed to D23 Expo, which is no longer called D23 Expo, we'll get there. This is the place where it is the diehard theme park fans, and it's also a lot of nostalgics and sentiment. There's a lot of sentiment and passion that is in that single room at Destination D. So when you talk about an attraction that is not just being reimagined, which sometimes makes Disney fans a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, let's admit it, but when you say that it's inspired by World of Motion, I think that raises some eyebrows. It also ignites some smiles in the room. And if you see the concept art, which if I can pull up, if you see the concept art that we got from Disney and Disney Parks blog, you see that while the track remains the same, there's a couple of things I think of note in this. One, we talked about this last night. It very much looks like, and I think is meant to evoke the Chevy, the GM, and sort of the overall industry and society sort of moving towards electric vehicles. It has a very Tesla-ish like sort of front to it, and I think that's very much what they're looking to convey. But I think the important stuff is in the background, because I think instead of what Test Track was, which was a test track proving ground for vehicle testing, and even sort of what we have now with this idea of sort of designing your own car, what do we see? We see a lot of greenery. We see the sun, solar. I think it's very much meant to evoke and tying into what Epcot has always been, this, connection with nature and environmentality. And somebody said it looks like E.T. and Test Track had a baby. To a certain degree, yes, but I think that this is an interesting sort of, I think, very intentional piece of concept art that they used when they were talking specifically about Test Track. I'm going to go back and start catching some of your comments as we go through. Sam wants to talk about Pirates Bar. We'll jump over to Magic Kingdom in a second. Gary Witt, I think this too, if you would have asked me before Destination D, would we be getting, listen, I've been saying it for years. One of these times, I'm like, a clock is right twice a day. I will be right about the Journey into Imagination Pavilion update. I was convinced. I would have laid money on the fact that it was going to happen this weekend. These are your Figment fans. It almost seemed like a fait accompli. We didn't get it. And I think, Disney fans are interesting because we walk in the door with our own set of expectations, however realistic or unrealistic they may be. But I think if you would have polled, people coming in, I think a lot of people would have expected this. I think now, and maybe it's because they're sort of, they're keeping their hand very close to the vest. Maybe this is not just going to, and I'm thinking about this as I'm saying it out loud, maybe this is not going to be a quote unquote simple update to the pavilion. Clearly Figment is here to stay, but maybe this is something that is larger, a little bit more of a grander scale, and needs to be on the big stage. And we'll talk about what the big stage is going to be at D23 Expo. But yeah, I thought this was a done deal as well. And I was almost waiting for Josh to come out at the very end and pull a one more thing. And I know it's a Steve Jobism, but you almost want to surprise. And we got some of that there, but we did not get that. And that was very, very surprising. Becky says, I'm still having issues with Figment's head. It makes me think of Brundlefly. I dig the Fly reference with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. I still love that movie. It holds up over time. We talked about this last night, in that if you look at and I don't, forgive me that I don't have a photo of him, but if you look at the Figment meet and greet character now, he looks different than the Figment meet and greet character that you may have remembered from, 15, 20 years ago, however long ago he was, in that upper area by the dancing fountains at the Journey into Imagination Pavilion. This Figment is very much meant to reflect not this sort of walk around character, but inspired by the audio animatronic figure. It's why the shoulders are very narrow. It's why the articulation even of sort of the upper body looks different, and the shape and the size of the head almost seems slightly disproportionate because it is meant to sort of mirror that figure. I get it. I get the inspiration, one little spark, as it were. But your comment about his shape is not. You are not alone. You are not alone. So, by the way, Hannah Bird is watching from the middle of the night in Greece, trying to adjust to the time difference. I've never been. It's on the list. Becky added to our list as well. Emily says, I'm excited for the Test Track redo. Never been an enormous fan of this version. I liked the original. Did you remember to turn off those robots, as opposed to the current version, which I probably haven't ridden on? I'll bet you it's been 3 to 5 years, even to sort of cut the COVID time out. Deborah says, I really loved World of Motion. Excited to see how the new Test Track turns out. So I did as well. I loved the Gary Owens very sort of radio voice narration. I loved the Mark Davis inspired whimsy and humor that was put into there. I wonder how much of that is going to be integrated. Are we going to get, a lighter, happier, more whimsical version of Test Track? And where and what are those World of Motion little Easter eggs going to be throughout the attraction? Hopefully it comes through. Sue Passauer says it looks like a leisurely drive through the countryside, if you don't mind driving 65 miles an hour when you hit those open roads. She says, why were the Muppets so present throughout the convention? Did I miss something? You did not. And this is the same thing this is sort of the same cycle that I see happening with the Muppets. Just when you think that they're about to make the announcement, they pull it back in. A number of years ago, when the Muppet television show was coming to Disney Plus and the specials were coming, there's all these sort of indicators of a resurgence of Muppets, and it doesn't seem to be taking. I don't know if it's the quality of the content that when it was on the ABC TV show that did not necessarily do well. The Electric Mayhem on Disney Plus, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet, seemed to get great feedback, but there has not been this sort of explosion of Muppet love. God forbid you say you're taking Muppet Vision 3D. The people will lose their collective marbles. But I also was like, wait a minute, is this an indicator of something Muppet related coming? I don't know. I thought Muppets Haunted Mansion is brilliant and super fun and super smart. I'm looking forward to seeing it again this Halloween holiday season. I don't know. Is this, as I think, and we talked about this last night too, is this sort of Disney, the only way I sort of can continue to describe this, taking the temperature, right? Are they sort of trickling out some Muppets to see what the response is? And remember, when new attractions and updates are being created, there's a very wide spectrum of guests that they have to target. It is not just the quote-unquote hardcore, the Disney adults, the people that are annual pass holders and live here and go all the time. There is that sort of quote-unquote, family from Idaho that comes to visit once every 5 to 7 years that has to be attracted and served and satisfied as well. So while there might be things that we love and want to remain, they may not be guest satisfiers across the board. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. I don't envy the position of Disney, especially for an event like this, because to a certain degree, and I understand my meaning, you can almost do no right, because no matter what you do, it's not going to be enough for some people. It's not going to be what they wanted for other people. You're taking away the thing that I love. Why are you doing this? Why? I heard it over and over again. When I attend these events, I am half focused on what's happening on stage, and maybe even more than half, which is more than 100, but you know what I mean. I'm almost more focused on the reaction and response and taking the temperature, which is why I wanted to do this tonight, because I really want to hear from you. And the conversations that I heard among guests, among friends, among some of the media folks were very interesting and oftentimes across the board. And it's sort of a microcosm of what Disney is up against when, you decide, what are we going to talk about? What are we not going to talk? What are we going to reveal? What are we not going to reveal? And I'll get to that as well, because I think there was some not only interesting choices made in terms of what they talked about, what they didn't talk about, but the recovering attorney in me comes out, and the language used clearly went through many layers of, marketing and legal before they used it. And I think it was intentional and sometimes intentionally vague. Let me quickly just go and catch back up again. A lot more talk about Test Track. Angela, same thing. When they kicked off with the Muses and Hercules, like Hercules the animated, not Hercules, which is also very funny. I was like, wait a minute. Are we getting a Hercules show? Is Hercules going to be the show that is coming on the Disney Treasure? We don't know. It's sort of like it dangled out there, because I love the music from Hercules, and that sort of that gospel vibe at the beginning with the muses was just, I mean, the room was electric. Like, it really helped set the tone for some of the amazing things that we did get. But alas, no, maybe it's a Muppet Hercules mashup. Like, remember the whole sort of Star Wars and Muppet mashups? And so maybe that's what we're going to get. We're going to get the show that nobody ever asked for, but everybody would love. Am I a man or am I a Muppet? I ask myself that question all the time. Vero Mike says Horizons will always be my favorite. They should do a haunted. So Heather, this is something I think you will probably never see here. And the reason why is because, unlike California, where you can take Haunted Mansion down for a month plus, because it's a local crowd, it's understood, it's acceptable, it's fine. Because in Walt Disney World, you close Haunted Mansion for a month to do a temporary overlay and then have to close it again for another month. Again, the 5-year family from Idaho, insert state country here, does not want to come and be like, well, wait a minute, it's closed? Or wait a minute, I just want to see the regular Haunted Mansion. I don't like Muppets. I don't like Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just not, it's a very different, it's a very different guest to a certain degree that comes here, a regular, than it does in Disneyland. Suzanne says that the singers were so great. I agree. They were spectacular. Let me just quickly go. Soarin' over California coming back September 22nd. Again, we didn't see that. This is the perfect place to announcement. It's not huge, but it's impactful. Soarin' right now is fine. A lot of us prefer Soarin' over California. It's a gift. It is a simple, easy gift to give your most ardent, rabid, whatever you want to call Disney fans. So I like it, I get it, and it absolutely works. We also got the name of the new nighttime spectacular, Luminous, The Symphony of Us, which is going to debut on December 5th. We had no concept art. We have no additional information about that at all. I want to go from there to where I think the most interesting part of the day took place, and that is over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And we see this concept art, and there's a lot to break down here. From a purely visual perspective, what are we seeing? Well, let's talk about what we heard first. Disney's Animal Kingdom may feature experiences inspired by Encanto and Indiana Jones in a reimagined land. There was debate, there was discussion, there were borderline arguments taking place on Sunday morning. People grabbing their phones going, no, watch the video. This is what Josh said. This is the word that he used. Like, not among me, but other people as well. There seems to be confusion and contradiction as to this may be coming or this is coming. My understanding, and based on the words that were used, based on the concept art, based on sort of conversations that I had with some folks on the Disney side of things who sort of indicated, no, like, we're working on this. Like, this is happening. What did the release say? Sort of almost like, why did they use this word? I believe these are fait accomplis. I believe these are happening, and that's how I'm sort of approaching my discussion of it. So what do we see here? We see a change in places like Restaurantosaurus, a new fountain, what appears to be a carousel, a new entrance plaza, very, very lush, very, very green. And what Imagineering is doing is transforming Dino Land into a quote-unquote tropical Americas inspired land. We're going to see experiences inspired by Encanto and Indiana Jones. Top left, you see clearly the house sort of directly out of Encanto, and the areas to the right clearly also inspired by Indiana Jones adventures that can and will and have taken him to, the South Americas and the Southern American hemisphere and continent. So I think this is absolutely coming. I think it looks great. I think it fits. I think Dino Land was always intended to be a quote unquote temporary land. It's been a temporary land for, 30 some odd, I can't do the math, whatever, a really, really long time, but it looks beautiful. I think bringing in those two IPs makes sense. And I know some folks feel it does not make sense. They don't want IP, and I get it. But again, while there's part of us that wishes we would have some things that are new, fresh ideas, right? Non-IP based. It is Encanto. It is Indiana Jones. It is going to attract the family, the kids to say, Mom and Dad, oh, I love Encanto. We have to go. I love Indiana Jones. Like, I get it. Marissa says, look, as much as I miss Dinosaur, I love this idea. And I think, again, this is sort of the balance, right? You have folks who are like, no, don't take away Dinosaur. It's the ex-girlfriend effect. I said it with Maelstrom. I said it with Adventurers Club. Nobody went to Maelstrom. Nobody went to World of Motion until they said they were closing it. Like, no, Maelstrom, come on, I love you, you're my favorite. No, you weren't. So Dinosaur, the same thing. Like, Dinosaur oftentimes is a walk-on attraction. It's starting to show, it's been a little time since it's had a refurbishment and an update, and even, that while we could sort of quote the hello there from the Q film, that was a really bad impression. I apologize. It looks dated. It feels dated. It needs to be refreshed. And Dinosaur might not be an attractor, but you better believe Indiana Jones is certainly going to be. Do I think it is going to be a carbon copy of what they have out in Disneyland? I don't know, but there's a part of me that really hopes not. I want to have a reason to go visit Indiana Jones on both coasts. Brian Joe, considering being the operative word, I think this is where, a lot of discussion came to be, like the choice of the words, because now we're so almost like, we're hesitant to sort of get too excited because we don't know, are things being considered? Are they blue sky? I do not believe this is blue sky. I think that these planes are very much in flight, and I would venture to wager almost that these will be here. Just like the same thing in Disney's Animal Kingdom, if I can find the graphic, there you go. Zootopia is coming not to Dino Land, not to a new land, but it is going to be a new show in development for the Tree of Life Theater. Again, all of you Tough to Be a Bug fans, start your petitions, get your, pitchforks ready, because you're like, no, it's Tough to Be a Bug. You've always been my favorite attraction. Same thing. Tough to Be a Bug was definitely ready for an update. Again, some people disappointed Zootopia wasn't getting its own land, but I think if you want to go see Zootopia, and I'm not trying to be funny or snarky when I say this, that's why they're building it in Shanghai. That's why they're building this attraction and entertainment and merchandise and themed food, because that is going to be the place if you want to go, if you are a huge Zootopia fan. I have no problem with this. I don't know the last time I went to go see It's Tough to Be a Bug. Maybe you have. Like, was Tough to Be a Bug a must-do, and escape the heat, escape the rain type of an attraction, get the baby to sleep, whatever it is. But I think this very much makes sense as well. Becky says, dinos will eat your head. Becky, I don't get the dino eating your head thing. I don't understand your fear of dinosaurs. Like, there's a good chance, and I'm going to avoid the easy age joke here. There's a good chance you were probably not around when dinosaurs existed. I'm not sure where your fear is coming from. It's not like watching Amityville Horror and like, yes, my house could really be haunted, and so I have a legitimate fear. I'm not saying that was me when the movie came out, but if you get my drift. But But yes, your dinosaurs are going away. So your Becky's petition to get rid of dinosaur has finally paid off. Sharon, you said it. I was thinking it. The food based on Encanto, I cannot wait. And again, if you look back at this concept art, you see that there looks to be a lot of marketplace stalls, certainly going to be a merchandise shop as well, but the food that can be inspired by Encanto, just think of the possibilities. And I think, other than Satuli Canteen and yes, Tibbins, but like Nomad Lounge, I think Animal Kingdom, and I do love Yak and Yeti too, I take that back. Animal Kingdom, this is like the perfect addition to it. I'm really curious to see what Restaurantosaurus is going to become. Because I'm not sort of able to be sure from this concept art, is this more themed towards Encanto? Is it more meant to sort of all blend in together with Indiana Jones? Is it just sort of, I'm very excited. Mouth is watering, literally. So I like the fact that we're on the same page in terms of our love of food. See, Paul Clark says, I always went to Maelstrom. I stayed for the video as well. My dad loved Maelstrom. My dad's, passed a number of years ago, but my dad, when he went to Epcot, always loved Maelstrom, wanted to go to Norway. Like, it did its job. And my favorite part of Maelstrom, other than the oil rig, and my dad loved this too, was the unload area, the little town, right? So the miniature version of sort of a Norwegian fishing village. That and the film is what inspired my dad to be like, yeah, we should go. We should go to Norway. And Dad, I'm sorry, we never got a chance to go. But so does Indy in Animal Kingdom mean goodbye to the stunt show in Disney's Hollywood Studios? Dan, that's another rumor that has been sort of percolating for years. You can argue both ways, right? The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is a people eater. It is a people eating attraction. Excuse me. And I think it still holds up. I've gone before and I've seen that venue 90 to 95% full. Would you put something in there, again, that would become this sort of, shining star attractor to a new guest? I don't know. Also, where is the franchise going? If you watch the end of Dial of Destiny, which is not, in my opinion, the best of the Indiana Jones movies, I think they left the door very wide open for possibly the evolution of the character and the stories. Are those two potentially in alignment with each other? Not necessarily the Indiana Jones based. We'll see. Mel, we did talk about a Tough to Be a Bug and that it is moving on to greener pastures. Yes, as long as it's not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull themed. Yeah, they're going to sell little refrigerators in the gift shop. Oh, it's not a good choice. I cannot make it through Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've watched it all in its entirety, but in like small bites, but I can't seem to, it's a lot for me to be like, I just can't. And I did not love it. So Annette, what you are saying is what other folks said as well. And that watching on YouTube says, I'm one of the people who think that the Indy ride does not fit there, even though it's the same ride track. Because I'm sure you know that the Indiana Jones attraction in Disneyland and Dinosaur in Walt Disney World, the tracks are identical. What movie? Identical. The theming is different. They feel very different, but it is, why couldn't they make the area's Utopia Land? I think a lot of people question that. I think, and if you look at the footprint of Dino Land, and I'll pull this image up one more time, while it looks sort of relatively large from here, it's not. It is not a huge space. And actually, I'm sort of curious as to how far back into some of the cast member areas and the parking lot that's located back there they might have to potentially go, especially for that Encanto show building. So I don't know that you could give Zootopia its due with a full land the way that they are doing overseas. And you don't want sort of like, the nickel version of the land that you hope that you would have gotten. So that's why they're building it out. And I know some folks who have worked on the project who are like, this is the most beautiful thing that we've done. Like, it is spectacular. And if you see some of the concept art from overseas, I'm very encouraged and very much want to go. Ashley says, well, wait a minute. If Encanto is no longer a Magic Kingdom, could Zootopia be a new addition to Magic Kingdom? Ashley, it very well could be. And I should have taken a screenshot of the area behind Big Thunder Mountain, which, again, some folks might have been disappointed. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened there. This is the blessing and the curse of live video. Is if you have a bad signal, if something happens, I know that there's a storm about to hit here. That may be what happened. I don't know, other than losing an abundant. No, Jerry says the dinosaur got me. It could be. It very well could be. So I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, taking the temperature and seeing how people react, and then potentially adjusting course. I promise you, and I will tell you this, and I'm not speaking sort of out of school. Disney is listening. Disney is listening when you don't think they're listening. They're not listening to the petition to bring back Maelstrom that has 4,000. That's not what they're listening to. They're listening on social. They're listening to guest surveys. They're listening to conversations. And I will tell you this that I've been told this, and I know this for a fact from folks in varying degrees of leadership in the company, including from Josh D'Amaro himself. I had a conversation with Josh before the event started on Friday night, and we'll talk more about Josh and all of our love of Josh and what he does and what he brings. But they listen, and they don't just listen and then go about their business. They listen, they respond, they react, and very much take that into consideration. And I think that's why some of these blue sky ideas are being sort of trickled out, because they want to sort of almost give you a chance to provide your input. Let me move on. Let me keep going. I know that there's a ton of, Emily says, fire your tech guy. Emily, I am the tech guy. I'm the everything guy. There's a lot happening here, but it's all me. So if you see me looking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that's why. Let me just quickly catch up on I'm getting video and audio, but it's out of sync. Sorry about that. I don't think there's anything that I can do. Let's just quickly stay in Magic Kingdom, which, again, according to Josh, and I think this got buried a little bit. Magic Kingdom is undergoing, so the process is happening, its, quote, largest ever expansion with new attractions, new restaurants, and more. The largest ever expansion. Remember how big the expansion of New Fantasyland was. Remember, what that area was and how far back they went. That island behind Big Thunder Mountain, which I would love to see, be a villain's theme island. I've said it before. They are investing very, very, very heavily. One of the things that we did not see coming that really got a lot of great response, including from one Becky Menken, was the Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge coming to Adventureland. Disney says this is going to be the first of its kind experience that's going to extend the story of pirates. Imagineers are in the process now of designing. One detail was revealed: the Barker Bird animatronic, you may know him as Peg-Legged Pete, who's at World of Disney for some time, is making a welcome return. This concept art is it's clearly, you can see the Mark Davis inspiration. It doesn't really give you an indication of location. I looked at this closely, but when we were talking last night, I wonder, everybody assumes this is going to take over Tortuga Tavern across the way. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that this does not take over the area that was once occupied and now sits vacant, which is the Pirates League. The Pirates League, just at the end of the exit of Pirates of the Caribbean, to the right of the gift shop, has been closed. It is a relatively large space. This is going to be a lounge. What does that mean? Again, we talked about this last night. When I get the show up, you'll hear more of the discussion. But does this lounge mean this is going to be an extension of serving alcohol in other locations in Walt Disney World? Is this meant to be a little bit more for adult than, because if you put a lounge, if you replace Tortuga Tavern, you are taking away a very popular quick service location. Magic Kingdom needs all the food service locations they can possibly get their hands on. You cannot cannibalize that space for a lounge. You just can't. Even if the revenue from alcohol, you need that. So I actually think it's going to go into the Pirates League. I just have a feeling that it might go into the Pirates League. Dustin, again, we don't know if it's going to happen. A lot of you are asking for more fun rum drinks. And I was talking about this last night. There's a lot of conflicting emotion when you talk about alcohol in Magic Kingdom. We saw this when they announced it for Be Our Guest. Walt wouldn't want it this way. I'm not so sure about that. There was alcohol in Disneyland. I talked about this on the show when Be Our Guest announcement was that they were going to start serving alcohol. Magic Kingdom is a different animal than Epcot. There is no sort of drinking around the world. I don't think you have the same type of nonsense that happens on, Friday and Saturday night sometimes during the festivals. There's a little bit level of respect, and people aren't walking around sort of with beer and wine here. So I don't fear that. I have no problem with it. And I think if you could sort of take Pirates League and make it a very cool themed lounge, that might be a really nice welcome addition. Look, when people go to the park, sometimes they want an icy cold beverage that may help them relax more. To each his own. That's why having a lounge separate from Tortuga Tavern might be the right answer. It might be the right answer. So, Becky says, the alcohol ship sailed with the opening of Be Our Guest, but I think it's, I have a feeling that's where it's going to go. Again, never saw this coming. Never saw an update to Country Bear Jamboree coming in 2024. It's being reimagined, and it's now going to be called the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, opening in 2024. The Bear Bands are going to perform Disney songs in different genres of country music. They're working with Nashville musicians to get that authentic country sound. Again, mixed reactions here. Don't touch my Country Bear Jamboree. It's about time you update Country Bear Jamboree. I would not be the person who has to be like, this is what we're going to do, because you are going to upset someone. A couple of things that I found interesting. Liver Lips is, I can't do it. Liver Lips is no longer Liver Lips. Liver Lips is now Romeo. Liver Lips is now Romeo McGraw. And I joked last night, I was like, oh, is there like a popular, is Liver Lip, and forgive me, I'm not meaning to be insensitive. Is Liver Lip like a thing? I literally Googled Liver Lips right before the show, and I'm like, oh, is there a condition called Liver Lips? And it's not. The only thing that came up was Liver Lips McGraw, but now he is Romeo McGraw. So, but, look, I love Country Bear. I love the nostalgia. I love the story. I love all the connection to Walt. Mama don't whoop little Buford. Maybe you should shoot him instead. Maybe that time has come. Maybe it is time. But I do hope, and Amanda, I'm with you. I'm okay with the update, but I do hope that some of the original songs do remain. Again, Dad, we loved Big Al. I still love Big Al. I want to hear Blood on the Saddle. It can be reimagined. It can be updated, but I would love to hear some of those songs. All the guys that turn me on, turn me down. I get it. Yeah, so even Denise says, don't mess with blood. This is where it's going to get interesting because no matter, this is a no win across the board situation. You change anything, you're going to make half the people happy, you're going to make half the people unhappy, but hopefully it is a welcome change and not, and credit to Jeremy Goff in the clubhouse who posted this. Hopefully this is not the Country Bear Musical Jamboree under new management. Hopefully this is the update that will make everyone happy. It's modernized a little bit, but still it's feet rooted in the history and the sentiment and nostalgia that it needs to be. Lisa says, I'm so sad about Liver Lips. It's just going to be another IP attraction now. So I'm happy that it's not like inspired by the Country Bear Jamboree movie. It's like it is going to remain, there's no characters that are coming from somewhere else. I probably won't know any of the country music artists that may be rearranging some of the songs or rearranging. We don't know what's coming, but I'm very, very, I'm very curious. I love the fact that while his name may have changed, at least we're keeping the characters that we know and love. Maybe some different outfits, a little bit of different hair, but Wendell and Teddy Bear. I never heard Terrence called Shaker, or I just noticed Ernest the Dude, which now makes me think of a completely different movie, but I am happy that it is not sort of Country Bear Jamboree being reimagined to some other bear-based IP. So, let's see. Let me just catch up on. Look, people are still going to call him Liver Lips, right? Little, still going to no matter what. Big Al was my favorites as well. Somebody mentioned Hatbox Ghosts. Forgive me, I don't have the. Suzanne said the dude abides. I don't have the graphics ready to pull up for it. The Hatbox Ghost is coming to the Haunted Mansion, and according to story, they sort of were able to retcon the story a little bit to satisfy people who are like, wait a minute, it's not 999 ghosts. Now it's really 1,000. And why is he appearing in the endless hallway? Because Madame Leota hasn't summoned the spirits yet. He is, according to them, a ghost that is always present in the mansion. And he, unlike the other ghosts, has the ability to come and go whenever and wherever he pleases. You got to just sort of go with the flow, man, and say that's the story, and they are sticking with it. So while it might not necessarily make sense if you sort of buy into the fact that the Hatbox Ghost is a spirit with a little more control over when and where he appears and disappears, then that's what it's going to be. But I'm sure he'll be a welcome addition as well. We did get a few other bits of information. Ahsoka is going to join Star Tours at Hollywood Studios, Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris. Speaking of Disneyland, we know over at Avengers Campus, we got our first glimpse of this new world-jumping vehicle being introduced into this as yet unnamed tech attraction that's going to incorporate elements of Tony Stark's time suits with Xandarian jump points and Wakandan technologies. What does that mean? It means they can tell whatever story where they want to be. The multiverse and time travel opens up, like they can have any character at any time in any place that they want, because now they have these vehicles that are literal vehicles to be able to tell stories however and wherever. All that we know is that the villain is going to be King Thanos. So we'll see where that leads and the stories that get told there. It is the beauty, though, if you've been to Avengers Campus, who's been to Avengers Campus in Disneyland? It is the beauty of Avengers Campus because you can see characters that are, and Disney's very smart to have done this, when they're introduced on Disney Plus, the next day they appear in Avengers Campus. But you're like, wait a minute, Cap is dead. This person is gone. It doesn't matter because it is this sort of, the multiverse is a very easy storytelling out to be able to say, well, no, this is a different universe. It's a different multiverse than the one that took place there. So all these characters can sort of exist in the same space and the same time. So Vero Mike says, what hat are you wearing? This is a hat from one of my favorite Disney movies, and now one of my favorite Disney. God, I'm so bad with the finger thing. It's one of my favorite. So who knows where this hat is from? It's very relevant actually right now, Vero Mike's. It's from. I had this for a while, but in Disney California Adventure, and I'm trying to get some videos posted. If you caught any of my lives or stories last week or whenever I was there, this is not Black Hole. It's the San Francisco Ninjas. It is Tadashi Hamada's. It was his favorite sports team, and it comes from Big Hero 6, and you can see logos for San Francisco Ninjas throughout San Francisco in Disney California. They don't sell. Cast members wear this hat, but you can't buy this hat. Somebody gave me this hat in Epcot. It was, I told the story before, but I ran into a listener one night by American Adventure, and we were chatting, and I was like, dude, that is the coolest hat. I love Big Hero 6. I started to walk away. He came back and he gave me his hat, like literally gave me his hat off his head because he knew how much I like it. And yes, I sent him a very nice thank you present, but like, that's what it's all about. Like, you're just good people. And so I love this hat, not just because of Big Hero 6, but because of how and where I got it from. So I do need to talk to Becky about a Disneyland trip. By the way, the food in San Francisco, so good. How good is it? It's so good. And it's not afraid to get a little spicy. There's Ancasses. There is Lucky Fortune. There's bread. There's sourdough bread shaped like Baymax. Like, it's two of my favorite things coming together. So we'll have to get out there as well. Speaking of getting out there, there are also just a couple announcements. Tokyo Disney Resorts, Fantasy Springs. We saw some concept art. That is going to include Rapunzel's Forest, Peter Pan's Neverland, and Frozen Kingdom. That opens next year. Disneyland Paris is transforming Walt Disney Studios Park into the Frozen-themed land. So we got updates on Zootopia in Shanghai and a Frozen-themed land called World of Frozen in Hong Kong Disneyland. Speaking of the Asian parks, let's talk about the Asian waterways. We also found out that the new ship was announced by Disney Cruise Line President Thomas Maslin as the Disney Adventure. Not a lot of details, and we talked about this last night. To casino or not to casino? That is the question. I'm going to be very curious to see if I had to lay my chips down. If I had to put my chips on red, there's going to be a casino, and black, there is no casino. I'd like to split it, but I won't. I'm going to put my chips on red. I think the Asian market demands it in terms of their expectations for cruising. It'll be very, very interesting to see. But I am a betting man, and so I would like to see a casino on Disney Cruise Line, and how Disney. Again, it's going to be located, just so you know, that it is going to be going out of the port of Singapore. The Disney's working very closely with the Singapore Tourism Board for at least 5 years, beginning in 2025, which is sort of the first time Disney Cruise Line is sort of dipping its toe in literal waters in Southeast Asia. So, Becky says, poker night on the Disney Adventure. You beat me to it. We had poker night on Adventures by Disney. No money exchanged hands. Everything was legal. But yeah, we could have some fun when we go and visit. And obviously, Becky, we need to go and see what that ship is going to look like. Other thing too, we also had sort of a clarification and a reveal of the official name of, it is not Disney's private island, right? Which is why it's Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. The new island destination is not wholly owned by Disney like Castaway Key is, which is why it's Disney's Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. It is a large island. There are other industries and ports there as well, but they are working with the Bahamian government, and there's cultural collaborations to really sort of and if you saw by some of the concept art, the focus on nature is really going to be there. So I'm really, really curious. So Karina, the Disney's area, Lookout Key, is going to be private, but they do not own the entire island, right? So Lookout Key is Disney's private resort area, but they do not own the entire island the same way they do with Castaway. One of these days, by the way, I'll have to tell you guys a story. I haven't talked to him in years, but I know the person who sold Castaway Key to Disney, and it's a fascinating story that I will tell at a future date. So, so I'm very curious to see what that is going to be like. So again, that area is private, but the entire island is not, which is why I think they clarified the name. And finally, in terms of looking forward, we were waiting for a long time for information about the next D23 Expo, which will no longer be called Disney D23 Expo. It is going to be D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event. And this is going to be from August 9th through the 11th at the Anaheim Convention Center with an asterisk, because it really is going to begin the day before. So it's going to be 4 days, but it begins the day before in Disneyland. We don't know how, we don't know when, but your D23 non-Expo is going to begin in Disneyland, or if you want, it'll begin a couple days earlier for D23 Day at Angel Stadium, which is the first time that they're going to hold the event really sort of for an entire week of sort of a D23 celebration. I think it's going to be I think they're playing the Mets. I think the Angels play the Mets during that time, and tickets will go on sale in the spring of 2024. But the important news is that the Hall D23, if you're a Comic-Con person, the Hall D, the big enchiladas, the big presentations are not going to be held at the Anaheim Convention Center, but at the Honda Center, which is a 10-minute non-traffic car ride away. It's about 3 miles away. It is a legit full-blown big arena. I don't know how they're going to move guests there, but my conversations again are like, just wait till you see what we have planned. Again, what I was sort of not so subtly hinted to was that we have listened and we have learned over the past number of expos, including and especially last year's, and they may have cracked the code and figured something out to hopefully improve the guest experience. And I got a lot of wait till you see what we have planned. So I am waiting very excitedly for what it is, because I love that event. WW Radio and Mouse Fan Travel, since the very first expo, have been together on the show floor, and it's an event that I look forward to for a million reasons. Not just because of what happens there, but it's about the people and the activity and the stuff that we get to do at the booth and going live from there. So I'm curious to see. So yeah, what happens? So I think most people, Eric, are not going to have a car. So I don't know how they're going to get. So as I tried to figure it out and sort of run the numbers in my head, like, do they end the show floor and all the presentations at like 4:00 and say, okay, you now have a gap of time to get yourself some dinner, get yourself refueled, and get down the street to the Honda Center, because we're going to do the big presentation at 7:00, 8:00, whatever. I have no idea. I'm guessing. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be interesting to see. It is the big, that for me is one of the big question marks. So I want to know, right? And again, there was a lot that we didn't hear. There's a lot that we didn't hear for one reason or another. Time, venue, waiting for D23, right? We didn't hear about the overall Spaceship Earth. We didn't hear about Mary Poppins. We didn't hear about the updates to the China Pavilion. We didn't hear about Imagination. There was still a lot that was packed in there. And oh, by the way, I'm taking my glasses off. The most incredible thing that I saw at Destination D23 was the Once Upon a Studio short film that we're not sure is if it's going to sort of be if it's going to sort of lead into Wish, which comes out, I believe, later this year, or if it's going to come out on Disney Plus. There was not a dry eye in the house. Weeping, literal sobbing and weeping around me. I have no problem admitting it. I'm a crier. I'm an emotional guy. It touches and pulls on every emotional heartstring that we as Disney animation fans have come to love in the most beautiful and spectacular and meaningful way. They had a 5-minute standing ovation. Nothing else had that. They had a 5-minute standing ovation. It was, you better bring tissues. You better bring tissues because it was perfect. It was perfect. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where your love of Disney animation and Disney movies come from. There's going to be something in there for you. It was full of surprises. It was full of emotion, and it made everybody in that room happy. Like crying happy, but like good happy. And we all just sort of like looked at each other and were like, what? Like, it was so good. I haven't felt that way watching something in a while. Right? I haven't sort of had that emotional response to something that I've seen from Disney on the big or the little screen in a while. And they did. They hit it. They like, for anybody who's thought that, they don't make movies the way they used to, yes, they do. Yes, they do. They still get it. They still got it. And Once Upon a Studio is going to do that for you. So, yeah, Ray Kastner, you were sitting behind me. How could you not get weepy after that? If you're not a Disney fan. If you're not, something's wrong. You need to have your tear ducts checked out because something is wrong. So I'd like to know from you what your thoughts are, right? We said that this was going to be a recap and a reflection and reaction to Destination D23. I will give you 3, 1, 2, 3, count them, 3 takeaways from Destination D, encapsulating sort of my overall feeling. Not the things I felt were most impactful, but sort of a 30,000 foot view. So 1, I love this event. I love the single room. I love the energy. I love the nostalgia, that it remains theme park focused primarily. Yes, there's animation. Yes, there's archives. Yes, there's studio, but it really is. And it's for fans and by fans. And what I mean by that is every presenter, panelist, speaker who gets up on stage is clearly a fan. Diego Paris, Jason Grant, Becky Klein, Josh D'Amaro, without exception, in between, end to end, they are clearly fans, and it comes through. It's a Destination D is sort of like, it is this wonderful little gift for Disney enthusiasts. It's one room. You're not bouncing around. You're not missing anything. And it really is. It's really meant, for Disney enthusiasts. Something else that I think really should, people really aren't talking about it, and because it's not like, we're not talking about an attraction or anything per se, but I want you to sort of pay attention to one other thing. If you noticed when Josh came out to talk about the updates to Disney's Animal Kingdom, he introduced or reintroduced Chief Creative Officer Bruce Vaughn. And if that name sounds familiar, it should, because he previously was a chief creative executive at Walt Disney Imagineering. He joined in the early 90s. He worked for theme park productions, animation, television, music, internet, consumer products, location-based entertainment. He's had a very long career with the company and left for a while. He left WDI to join Airbnb. And I mention that specifically because his role there was experiential creative products and wanted to create sort of meaningful connections between travelers and locals. He also worked for a company called Dreamscape Immersive, which is sort of on the very cutting edge of advanced virtual reality technologies. I don't think it is an accident or a mistake. One, that he came back, and two, when he is coming back. I think as future movement on the executive level in the company is going to shift in the next few years, I think the introduction and bringing Bruce Vaughan out on stage once again was very deliberate. It was very, very deliberate. And it's a name I think that I would sort of keep in the back of your mind. Finally, I have two words for you. And I am unapologetically like Josh tomorrow. Josh tomorrow. Not because he just says that the company is full steam ahead on updates and improvements, and the next 10 years are going to be remarkable, and there's a huge capital investment that is coming to the Disney parks, not just domestically, around the world. Like, when we were talking to him, there was a few of us who were talking to him on Friday night, you could tell he wanted to like say more because he was so excited. He's like, but just wait until you see what we have planned. We have the next 10 years planned out, not including some of the things that might come along in the process. When you hear that this is going to be the largest expansion of Magic Kingdom, that they're making billions of dollars of capital investment, he talks about it in a way almost that he's a fan first, as opposed to an executive first. I love Josh, personally and professionally. Sue Passower says he's one of the best parts of the Disney company right now. He is awesome. I agree with you 1,000%. He's my favorite leader at Disney, says Becky. Josh gets us. Absolutely. You're 100% right. If you've ever seen Josh in a park, I mean, avert your gaze for a second if you can, because everybody, he's incredibly handsome, but he's dynamic and he's authentic. And I hate that authentic has become a marketing buzzword, but you watch Josh, and I've watched him in even smaller situations. He will go up to every cast member and look them in the eye and ask them how they're doing. What do you need? How can I help you? Every guest that comes up to him looks you in the eye. You are the only person in the room. It's not an act. It's not phony. I've seen him on stage and off stage. The Josh you see on stage is the Josh you see off stage. This man not just loves this company and the product, right? I don't even like to use that word, but he loves the people and he loves what he does, and it comes through. And you're right, Karina, he is the real deal. He cares about the cast members. I mean, all of you talking about sort of what fans of Josh you are. Like, Josh is the leader that not just we as Disney enthusiasts and guests need. I think Josh is the leader that Disney cast members need. The love and the respect that Josh receives, and obviously you're all sort of reinforcing this in the comments. I have not seen it like this across the board. So he again the love and the care and the respect of the guests and this place and the people is remarkable, and it's wonderfully refreshing to see. So that's my takeaways. My takeaways are the event and Bruce and Josh. And look, whether you were excited or disappointed, whether things that they didn't talk about or things that they surprised you with, it is an exciting time to be a Disney fan. I think we really are on the precipice of seeing some unprecedented announcements and growth and integrations of technology that we have not seen come into the parks and the resorts and Disney Cruise Line. I think we're going to see expansion at Walt Disney World, whose time has come, and now is the time. Now is the best time for that expansion to happen. Again, if you didn't just leave it in the comments, please come be part of the community and conversation over in the clubhouse and let me know what your thoughts are there. In case you missed it, earlier this week, in a very harried crazy couple of hours between conversations and announcements, we announced not one, but two upcoming WDW Radio cruises. I did not like having no cruises on the books. You didn't as well. You spoke, we listened. And so first, we are going to be celebrating Halloween on the high seas on the Disney Magic, October 21st through the 26th, 2024. It's 5 nights on the Magic, celebrating Halloween, trick-or-treating, and costumes. And oh, by the way, we also go to Lighthouse Point. Just drop mic and get excited then and there. If that wasn't enough, many of you, and I see your names, I see you in the chat, reached out to me either on social or privately about the treasure. Like, are we going? Should I book on my own? What are we doing? Can we go? Yes, we're going on the treasure. February 8th through the 15th, which just happens to be what is going to be WDW Radio's sort of 20th anniversary. So there'll be a lot to celebrate, including Periscope Pub and Skipper Society Lounge, whatever Hyperspace Lounge is going to be, the new Coco restaurant, the new show. There is a lot to see. And if you missed it, if you want to go back and watch the video with all of the details, the destinations, the dates, everything else, you can go to wdwradio.com/cruise reveal. If you also want to find out more, if you want to read instead of that and get a free no obligation quote from our exclusive travel provider, you need to book with and through MouseFan Travel in order to participate in our group events. Go to wdwradio.com/cruises, and Becky and her team of advisors, who many of whom are in here. Sue is here. I think Lori was there. Grace might have been in here. The team of advisors there will help answer any of your questions and get you a quote. I know a lot of people have signed up already, so I'm super incredibly excited. I love having something to look forward to. Sue Passer says, I'm excited about a Mexican, I can't wait for Coco, which is taking over the Arendelle location on the Wish. It's a 7-night cruise on the Treasure, and the only thing better than a 5-day cruise is a 7-day cruise, because it's 2 more days of food. So there's a lot. But wait, what? There's more? There is more. I have breaking news. I never say breaking news on the show. It doesn't matter. Breaking news. If you're interested in coming with us on the Magic or the Treasure, or if you can't wait that long and want to try something a little or a lot different, you know that we're going on our Nat Geo, our first, I say first because it's not going to be our last. You are not the first to pass this way. It doesn't matter. Our first Nat Geo adventure on our Danube River cruise this December. Guess what? We still have availability, and thanks to the magic and the sorcery, dare I say witchcraft, of Becky Menken, our exclusive, you can only get this $750 per person discount, has been extended until October 13th. So you have another 30 days to decide if you want to come and save $750 per person. Again, to learn more, visit www.com/NatGeo23. So technically, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 cruises on the books, not even including all the other stuff that I have planned that Becky would hate me if I said. I know I was on mute, because if I would have said those things out loud, my phone would have exploded. Becky Menken would have found a way to climb through my phone and murder me on the spot. But there's good stuff coming. There's good stuff that we have planned, and I've got good stuff to give away too. I thought about giving away tonight, but maybe I'll give it away on the show instead. Who's a big fan of Nightmare Before Christmas? Raise your hand. Or do anything. Who's a fan of Nightmare Before Christmas? I was able to get my hands on one of these very exclusive and elusive popcorn buckets from Disneyland. The lines, man, Disneyland people, they love their popcorn buckets. But wait, this little head turns and everything, right? When you spin the wheels. This popcorn bucket, straight from Disneyland. Maybe I'll give it away on this week's show, or maybe I should give away this Figment statue instead. I don't know. Maybe I'll give away one. Maybe I'll give away both. I also still have some of these cool, handy dandy 3D. That's the worst Waldo impression, but these are 3D like rubber keychains. They're great for your keys. They're great for your backpack, great for your luggage, whatever it might be. So there's all kinds of good stuff to give away. Karina, it does light up. This does light up and it spins. I didn't pull the tab out because I don't want to, I can't get it to, I'm not even sure this battery's in here, but yeah, I can't get it to light. Anyway, it's brand new. I just got it from there and somebody asked to see the figment. So this is from the Wonderground Gallery, a Mark Stuckey design. So I'm going to give both of these away. I haven't quite figured out. Maybe I'll give one away on the show tomorrow. I'll give one away on the show next week. And as always, if there's anything that I can do for you, any way that I can help you out, please let me know. Couple of quick reminders before we head out. Huge thanks to everybody who is part of the WDW Radio Nation family. None of this happens without you. I appreciate your support and love, and in turn, your support of our Dream Team project, which benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. If you haven't told a friend, or if you're not part of the clubhouse, come be part of the community and conversation. You make this place and this space and our family the amazing community is the wrong word. We are like, we're family, and I don't see this anywhere else online. It is all thanks to and because of you. You embody this idea of choosing the good. Please continue to pay that forward and choose the good for other people as well. And of course, don't forget that if and when you're coming, not just to World, but land, but cruise line with us or on your own, please go and visit the amazing team of advisors over at Mouse Fan Travel. They will help you plan your vacation, get all available discounts, all at no cost to you. And again, it's that personal level of service and attention that is the reason why we've been partners and friends for more than 16, maybe it's 17. What's the number, Becky? 16, 17 years. It's like my longest relationship ever is with Mouse Fan Travel, which just made it really, really weird. It doesn't matter. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so, so much. So until next time, see ya.